Hey guys, so a lot of people have been asking me about which simulator I recommend and how do I get into trading and how do I practice. And I always like to use TradingView for charting. It's a great tool for charting, but there's actually a paper trading account you can get with that as well. I wouldn't say it's the best simulator, but it is a simulator that you can use for free. If you're worried about the cost to actually learn how to trade before putting your money in, and I completely understand that, TradingView is a good way of doing it. So watch this video. I'll go through some of the different things you can do with TradingView and for trend line analysis and also the paper trading. I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, remember to give the smash the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Remember, I'm trading an hour before the market opens every single day. So join me live and you can watch me actually trading my own strategies. In the meantime, check the description for the link to TradingView. Okay. So in this video, what we're looking at is TradingView. We're taking a look at TradingView for chart analysis and paper trading. So the first couple of things you should learn is trend lines and how to draw them. So you can go right here on this sub menu and you can see that I clicked on the arrow and there are several different types that you can get. But a typical trend line is really all we're looking for. So you just click, hold, you drag, click again, and there's your trend line. It's drawn. It's drawn quite nicely on the chart. You can drag it around. You can obviously move it in whatever direction you need. And you can right click or delete or whatever. You can just highlight it. So like that. And that's highlighted because of the bubbles, and then you hit delete, it'll go away. So you can also do channels. You click on this little arrow, you go to parallel channel. Parallel channels work very similar. You can drag and click again, and then the trend line is drawn, and you drag up or down depending on which way you need it drawn. And you can see that once I click out of all that, it draws a nice parallel channel that you can see. And that's nicely drawn on the chart. And one of my actual favorite features of TradingView, it's really cleanly designed. So how do we use trend lines? Well, trend lines are pretty straightforward. And, you know, granted, this is a daily chart on US steel, but it's going to do the same no matter what, okay? So you notice how buyers continue to come in. So in a situation like that, you just simply buy every time it gets tested. There are a couple of parameters that you want to see. You want to see a trend line tested at least 3 times, which it would have been here on this area of the chart. Okay, and then you can see here that we have clearly gapped lower and broken that line. So that shows that the trend may be changing from a longer term perspective. Now, day traders won't necessarily be using the daily chart, but it does give you an idea of where the market may be going longer term. But here on the 15-minute chart, you can draw a downtrending line, and you can see that we did pierce above it a little bit, but clearly we're in a downtrend. We sell off every time we get close to it. And this little bit here brings up an interesting point. There are different ways to avoid being faked out, and that could have been a fake out for some people. Say, some people say it needs to break 3% in value above there. And, you know, some people say it needs to close above there on a full candle. And there are a multitude of ways to not worry about being in a false breakout. But there are some who are just typically, you know, very stringent about it. So for those, you know, who would have formed a trend line there, you would have sold there, you would have probably sold there on that gap in the fall, and then the rally up you would have sold. You would have got knocked out. So that would have been a loss after a couple of wins. And that's essentially what you're counting on with a trend line. You're counting on that you will eventually get stopped out. But in the meantime, what you're hoping is that you get multiple buying opportunities. So, you know, maybe it's like on a really good one, it might be 6 to 1. You get 6 wins to every loss. And that way you're making money. That's your goal. Channel trading is a little bit different in the sense that, well, for myself, I think it's a little bit riskier because you're playing both sides, okay? You're playing both up and downtrend, okay? And because of that, you're also playing both with the longer term trend and against the longer term trend. So as I draw this one on sprint, You know, you can make an argument for this being a decent channel. And what you would do is you would look to sell as you got to the top of it, and you would look to buy at the bottom. But ultimately, channel trading is a little dicey. It tends to work better on the higher time frames. You know, in a situation like this, there's another way you could look at this. You could say that, okay, we have this area that's been broken above. Obviously, we've gotten pretty strong. You can make an argument for a trend line there, and you would just buy. It's safer to do it that way, okay? But if you want to see some volume rising as well. But there are a couple of ways of looking at it, and channel trading is not impossible to make money off, but the very fact that it involves counter trend trading does make it a little riskier. So that's something that you should be aware of. Does it mean that it can't be done? No. It just means that it's got a higher amount of risk. You'll notice that this channel has a dashed line in the middle. That's essentially fair value. That's midpoint. So that's a way to look at it as well. But again, channel trading is possible and it can be good, but you have to realize that, like in this case, when you're selling against that type of move, you're going to counter trend. And that will be especially true if you're to do it on a higher time frame, like a daily chart. You can get really into a bit of trouble if eventually. So keep that in mind. It's not impossible if you want to line up the right candlesticks with the trend line, either a single trend or a parallel trend, which is essentially, you know, two lines parallel to each other, and then look for the right price action at those levels. Remember, trend lines, it's only going to be something to stick to as where you go. So I also mentioned that you can do paper trading, and that's pretty simple to do. Okay, you just go down to the bottom and there's a panel here, and if you click on that, click on paper trading or strategy test or whatever, you know, you can edit it like that, but you can write notes and things as well. But the paper trading pulls up and it starts out with an account of around $10,000. If you don't have a paper trading account, there's a tab here and it'll ask you what broker do you wish to use, and you're looking for paper trading by TradeView. It's a practice account. There's no cost involved. It's free, totally free. And then you just simply go up here and you can right click and can click trade, and you can do a sell limit, sell stop. These are orders. I'll talk about these in a different video, okay? But you can create new orders. Now this is based upon where my cursor is. So the higher level here, obviously it's 778, and if I want to trade at 572, it's easy just to click create new order, because that way you don't have the line up there and you just choose your type of order and the price and everything else. The prices aren't moving, okay? You can put a sell, pretty straightforward, and this will simply keep track of your trades, okay? Execute the orders as it's needed, and it shows you whether your strategy works. It's an excellent way to practice trading, and to get off this panel, you just click in the middle and it goes right back away.